Holy jeez. So this is our welcome to the Amos experience here. Wow. Okay, so today's video actually starts here at Podium Engineering. We are very close to Torino, up in the beginning of the Alps, and we are here to begin our journey with Automobili Amos. So this is probably the main reason we actually flew to Italy, and that was to kind of learn, see, test, and understand what this whole Amos brand is all about, and what Eugenio Amos really wanted to make and create with his kind of future vision of what this Lancia Delta is all about. So this is actually not the car we're here to see, believe it or not. This is actually one of the 20 Futurista that were built. This is actually a customer car that's in for a bit of service, but it's perfect timing for us to actually add this to what we're filming here today, because it is a beautiful white on white example. And how could we possibly turn down the opportunity to shoot more of these cars? This is literally the rarest car. You know, I mean, if you think about it, only 20 are being made, or 20 have been made. One is extra, so there's 21 in total. The number 000 Eugenio Amos kept for himself. And the car that we're actually here to see today and also drive tomorrow is the Safarista. 10 of these very special versions that has basically been designed, built, and created for racing. This is not a lifted Futurista. This is not an exercise in creating like a stylish off-road car. This is a real race car. And you know, as soon as you open the door and you take a look inside, you really understand that this is being engineered right from the get-go to be something very, very special, very, very serious, and a ton of fun. That's literally a tenth of the production right there. So we've taken out the white car, so grab some shots of it against this beautiful backdrop here in Val d'Aosta. And it's just incredible, you know, I mean, to get access to cars like this in such a venue, I just really have to pinch myself every day. But you know, like I mentioned, we are here at Podium Engineering. We're going to be talking with Eugenio Amos, the founder of Amos, and just kind of run through his vision, like why he wanted to create the Futurista, and then how the Safarista came to be, because obviously, you know, it's an idea that came slightly later on. You know, it's like, why not create something a little bit more extreme, a little bit more fun, and basically a very crazy toy, because that's what it is. It's basically the toy version of another toy, which is this. And so just to run through what Podium Engineering does. So these guys are on a very high level of engineering. So they do stuff like the electrical systems for Ducati e-bikes, like very high-end battery packs for motorsport applications, and you know, things that we're probably even not supposed to talk about. They are the guys that create the Scuderia Glickenhaus cars. They're all built here. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to see that. That's obviously something else not to do with what we're doing today. But again, it's just, it kind of sets the tone for why Eugenio would be kind of using these guys as the creators of his vision, of his project. All right, so here we are with Eugenio himself. You know, first of all, thank you so much for arranging this for us. It's been something that I really wanted to do for so long. You know, from Japan where I'm based, seeing that you guys created this amazing project, this idea that came to fruition, what, a couple of years ago now?
2018 we released our first car.
Yeah. And to see that you actually went through with it, had success with it, and just so renowned around the world. You know, I felt my Italian pride all the way from Japan, and finally being here, it's just a very special day. So thanks again, and I guess we can start.
Thank you for coming, Dino.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You know, let's start talking, because people want to know everything about this project.
So where shall I start from?
Let's start right at the beginning. So, you know, this is the Safarista we're in front now. Yeah. So let's put this to one side for a moment, and just, I want to know how, you know, how the idea came. Why the Futurista? Why did you?
Okay,
you know,
so 2016, I was 31 years old. I was a part-time race car driver, or a professional amateur race car driver. I was working in real estate, and I was every now and then buying and selling some cars in order to sustain my passion. So was buying a car, selling it for a little bit more, and then buying something else in order, as I said, to sustain my passion. I always wanted to work into the automotive industry. In fact, my first ever job after university was salesman at a Lamborghini dealer in Milano.
Oh, really?
as an intern, something like that. The dealership was owned by a friend of mine who was providing me with a Super Trofeo Lamborghini race car.
Oh, nice.
And in exchange, I was
doing a bit of selling on the side.
Correct. So back then I met Carlo Borromeo from the Borromeo de Silva design studio. And I asked him, what do you think if we do a resto mode ourselves? We took the inspiration mainly from Roof, Porsche, and as a resto mode company, Singer Vehicle Design. Yeah. These two brands were the inspiration for us. And our idea was that if a rock star from the United Kingdom can have a successful company in the US based on a German car, we thought we can do it also, no? From Italian car, Italian engineering, Italian design, Italian everything, and here we are. We started sketching the car that at the beginning was meant to be a 308 Ferrari.
Oh, really? So it wasn't a Delta initially?
No, originally no, it was a 308 Ferrari, but then we said, hey, what's the car that represents our generation? I was born in 1985, so the Delta when I was 6-7 years old was the car that made me fall in love with cars, because my father used to own a Giallo Ginestra, and an Evo 2 Giallo Ginestra, and I remember people, when I was sitting in my father's car, people looking at us, and it was an amazing feeling, you know. And so then we started sketching the Delta. We contacted Podium Advanced Technology, which is the factory we are currently in. They were in charge of the engineering and building the first prototype and the whole production line. Yeah.
So you really wanted to basically highlight the best that Italy has to offer in today's kind of engineering, you know, landscape, and put it into one.
With all the due respect for the Delta, it used to be a shitty box.
Well, I mean, you know, it's a very old car in today's age.
You know, I think it's not easier but less challenging tuning a Porsche, which is already a great car. No matter if it's 964, 993, 996, 997, 930, they're always been great cars. While the Delta, I mean,
you set yourself a challenge, basically.
It's a beautiful car, aesthetically speaking, but engineering-wise and driving-wise was a little bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
So it's still a disaster, but less of a disaster.
A more fun disaster,
Yes,
let's put it that way.
exactly.
From there, you created the Futurista, which is the street version, I guess you would.
Exactly.
You would call it.
That's our first take on the Delta. I know myself, and from the feedbacks of our clients, that we could have done a much better job on it. But given the price we've sold the cars, it's like a third of a Singer or other similar competitors, if we can call them competitors.
What was the base price for the car?
First 10 cars was 300,000 euros,
Okay.
while the second batch 350.
What
Because
changed on the?
we were too tight with bill of material and assembly costs. So we asked the 10 customer who committed from car 11 to car 20 if they were okay if we increased the price. Otherwise we would have given their deposit back. 8 out of 10 said yes. 2 said no, but we had a waiting list, so we gave these 2 slots to two other gentlemen.
Yeah.
Again, we didn't do 50,000 euros profit more on each car.
Just
we
to cover costs, basically.
correct.
Yeah.
With the cost and the little experience we had, we created something pretty special.
Yeah.
We completely re-engineered the suspensions from a McPherson scheme to a double wishbone. Every part of the suspension in CNC machined. Then we have massive use of carbon fiber. Everything in the interior has been changed.
So is the whole body carbon fiber?
No, not the whole body. We have the bonnet, trunk, front bumper, rear bumper, skirts, spoiler. I think it's easier if we go through the Futurista.
Yeah, we'll take a look later. Because
taking a look on an actual
I noticed
Futurista.
already the Safarista has a different bumper.
Correct.
Setup.
Correct. Different car, different purpose,
Sure.
different use.
Yeah.
So also different materials.
So we'll do a walk around with the
Absolutely.
Futurista later on. So
Yeah.
let's jump forward and start talking about the
So
Futurista.
basically, from 2018, when we first showcased the Futurista, we go in 2023. So a few months ago, we showcased the new Safarista project. Obviously, Safarista, the name gives you a reference to the safari world, so the rally world. This is what I always wanted to do, but I didn't have the balls to do it on the first attempt.
Yeah.
Basically, the idea was to have a rally car that could be used, maybe not on daily use, but that could be used and enjoyed on open roads.
Have the flexibility to.
And here we were slightly inspired by 911 Baja.
Yeah.
As a reference that you certainly know in the US.
Absolutely.
And the idea behind this project, it's something a la Ferrari Corse Clienti. So you basically own the car, and we take care of the car during selected event that we personally organize. So you buy the car, and together with the car you buy a package that will allow you to use the car on our selected events. If you don't want to take part in the events, you can still have the car and use it for whatever purpose you want. Yeah. And so the big difference with this car, it's obviously lighter. We have a full Group A style roll cage. I'm sorry about the different colors, but this car has been wrapped in matte green and advertised that we've been doing with our sponsor Pirelli.
Yeah.
The car is originally Nogaro Blau, and you may know this color. It's cultural appropriation. It's the color used on the Audi RS2.
Right.
Remember the one with the 5-cylinder inline with Porsche engine? Exactly. Yeah. The customer wanted to have it in this beautiful blue. As I was saying, we have a full Group A standard roll cage. Bear in mind that it's not screwed. It's welded.
Yeah, but not bolted in. It's
exactly.
Legit welded.
Yeah, on Group A standards, but revised for more modern performance. As you can see, the steering column is basically a meter
Yeah,
behind.
halfway into the door.
Exactly. And you see it where the B pillar is.
Yeah.
This kind of setting is taken from the WRC cars, or more recent, the R2 group.
Yeah.
Going to the engine now has 400 horsepower with an anti-lag system in 3 steps. So basically when you turn on the car and you're ready to rock,
Flick a switch.
It's crazy.
And we're actually going to get to hear this and,
Yeah.
and do that tomorrow,
When?
right?
Tomorrow, now?
Well, maybe now too.
Do you want me to turn the car on
I
for
think
you
we should
guys?
probably do that. So you literally sit completely behind the B pillar. Let's hear from the back. Oh my God. Wow, I see what you mean. And we probably kind of brushed over the fact that you guys actually got rid of the rear doors on the Delta.
Yeah, so this is a fun fact. Going back to the design part of the car back in 2016, 2017, we took an original 16 valves, which is the donor car for both Futurista and Safarista. And we went to one of these guys that work with clay.
Right.
And they do the modeling for actual cars and motorcycles in order to give you an idea of how the design would look once finished. We hand cutted and removed all the parts from the original car with this clay. And one day we completely forgot to put the rear door handle here and the cuts of the door here behind.
Yeah.
And we looked at the car and we said, man, it's actually very nice.
Quite nice looking, yeah.
Why don't we keep it 3 doors instead of 5? And yeah, I could be bragging, yes, it was our idea to have the 3 doors.
But it just happened like
it
that.
happened by
That's insane.
coincidence. And, it was a lucky shot.
Yeah. Well, some of the coolest ideas always end up being along those lines. So
Exactly.
it looks, it is a coupe now.
Well,
so
we've been criticized because usually when a 5-door car goes to 3 doors, let's take, for example, whatever hot hatch you want to mention, like, I don't know, Golf GTI, usually when it goes 3 doors, the B pillar is slightly more on the back and the door is longer. But in this case, we thought it looked amazing. And we kept it this way. Obviously, it was possible, but was extremely expensive, like millions and millions into engineering and homologation to move the door back, and it wouldn't make sense at all.
No, I definitely think the balance is
And
still there.
and the balance is still there.
Yeah.
We custom made all the rear windows,
Yeah.
because the other one had the pillar
Yeah, the
here
little
with
pillar,
two separate windows. Going back to this model, I mentioned the engine, the anti-lag. We have, again, here full CNC machine suspension, everything that is underneath the car, with 2 subframes. So the suspension are now attached to 2 subframes.
Yeah.
The rear differential is also into a nest of subframe, I don't know if the translation is the correct one, but it's a subframe. It's made by a French company called 3MO.
Okay.
The peculiarity of this gearbox and differential is that can handle up to 600-700 horsepower.
So plenty of
redundant.
peace of mind. Yeah.
Exactly. And they were used on rallycross cars.
Yeah.
World rallycross cars, so they can handle a huge amount of torque and power, and they're extremely reliable. The rear differential also, it's automatically disengaged with the hydraulic handbrake, so you're allowed to do shenanigans.
throw it a bit sideways
correct,
very easily.
and trash it as you like.
Nice.
And we will do that tomorrow.
We like that.
Yeah. And the good part is that we've been developing the car in order not to be scary for the regular driver, but to be very user-friendly.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you press the handbrake, the car is not like reacting crazy nervously, but it's very smooth and you really feel the car.
Yeah.
Also on the roll part of the car and on extension and compression of the suspensions, I've been personally working on that, and it's the car
So
is really.
how much higher does this sit compared to the?
You
Futurista?
can play with the Riger suspension. We've been using custom suspensions by Riger, which is to me the leader in rally. So
Yeah.
in fact, it's been used in all winning Dakar cars, Audi, Toyota, Mini, going into the T1 Plus category. Plus, it's been used on WRC cars, so it's the best you can find.
Yeah.
And you can play with the heights, and you can play with rigidity.
So depending on how you want to use it,
Correct.
gravel, snow, tarmac.
As you see, we have these are
fine-tune it.
not our custom-made rims. These are the Evo Corse for the road use.
Okay.
But we also have, and they're more aesthetically pleasant with the 18 inches size, 15 inches. Still
Oh, yeah.
Evo Corse.
Chunkier tires.
Yeah, this is for snow use. We've been using these tires on the GP Ice race in Austria.
Yeah. So
And-
you developed the car in various conditions, or
Correct.
Yeah.
Because that's what we want to do with our customer. The events we
Oh, you
we
want to
set,
take them around and get them
it's
to
both
experience.
gravel, tarmac, and
It's
snow.
amazing.
Yeah.
So it's just like a big toy, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
For,
So snow use.
Yeah.
These are the road ones, and these are the gravel ones.
Oh, nice.
As you can see, we all have Pirelli homologated race tires.
Yeah.
This is the specific one for gravel use.
All right. So to fully understand just the depth of engineering that has gone into this car, we're going to lift it up and take a look at all the details, all the billet parts, the conversion to double wishbone, and the custom subframes and the sequential transmission. There's so much to see underneath, probably more than on top. All PWR motorsport grade stuff from Australia. As you know, PWR does some awesome work.
And even the radiator is not welded, it's CNC machined.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's like the best of the best.
Okay, Dino, so I'll show you.
Where do we start?
Here is our rear differential.
Yeah.
Made by Tremo, as you can see. Oh, I'm sorry, it's dirty, but it's how
No,
it's
we
meant
like it
to
dirty.
be.
It means it's been used.
Yeah, exactly. It's CNC machined. This is our subframe, which is underneath the skid here in order to protect it. As you can see, it's connected to the frame. This is the Riger suspension I mentioned a little bit before, anti-roll bar. And all the geometry and the design, it's custom made by us.
Yeah. Okay, so I really like the way that you have this pressed plate here
this
too.
is aluminum that we put here between the tire and the brake in order to protect it from stones.
Yeah, because of course this is used in gravel,
correct.
snow, everything. So.
Correct.
And I should
So
point out to guys watching that Riger is actually owned by KW.
Yeah.
So you can understand the level of engineering that goes into creating these dampers.
But the cool thing, it's owned by KW, which is a great company, but they work as a skunk work.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So they keep on doing their own
crazy projects
stuff.
on the side,
Exactly.
So
Same on
titanium exhaust all the way through.
Yeah.
Of course, this is a race car, so no catalyst or any.
But we are
silencing.
working on a slightly more silent.
For people that want to actually use.
Yeah,
it
you
on
can
a-
have with a button with a switch.
Valving on the-
correct.
Yeah.
Not to get arrested every time you go food shopping. Same for this suspension, as you can see,
So
it's
it's got-
our own design.
Billet uprights and complete.
And
really redone
here is the
geometry.
other subframe
Yeah. All rose
with
jointed.
Tremo gearbox.
So that's the pneumatically actuated sequential.
Yeah,
And complete custom geometry. So we just heard how loud this is. So this is the exhaust system hiding behind. I love how you integrated a little diffuser section into the skid plate.
Yeah, exactly. So it's both nice to look, and it has his own reason to exist.
Yeah, you can get a better view of the rear end.
So from this side you have a nice angle of the differential.
Oh yeah, really good view there. Okay, so we haven't really looked inside in detail yet, but here's the pedal box that the car actually runs. You can see all the billet frame that holds up the 3 Tilton pedals, and behind it the carbon fiber. Okay, so let's take a look at the brakes.
Yeah, so
how they differ from the Futurista.
as it should be looking nice looking too. You could think, and in fact it is, that the disc is small compared to the rim, but this is only because we're using 18 rims on the road version setup. These are perfectly built for the 15 inches gravel and snow rims and setup.
Which we saw outside of
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It might look a little bit like poor tuning with all this space in the middle, but it's either having a big nice rim or having
too big a brake.
Yeah, exactly.
Where then you need to start changing too much stuff.
Exactly. But these brakes are the best in the monolithical Brembo.
So they're monoblocks front and back.
Yes.
Right.
Both.
So like a motorsport caliper.
Yeah, absolutely. Motorsport caliper. You can recognize them because they have
like the rough casting.
Correct.
Yeah.
That look of magnesium.
Yeah.
You know, they look slightly gold, silverish.
Yeah, yeah. And at the back.
Yeah, on the back. This
Slightly
is some
smaller.
same story behind.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess let's move to the engine. Take a look at that in a little bit more detail.
We have the fast motorsport
Quick release.
Exactly, the quick release.
Makes it easy.
As you can look, I can keep it with one finger.
It's so light. What's this made out of?
Carbon fiber.
So
you
carbon
can
fiber.
see it.
Twin skinned, or oh yeah, wow, that is.
And you can see the quality here in the middle that goes. We call it
The symmetry of the fibers.
lisca di pesce, or whatever it's called.
Like fish bones, fish scales.
Fish bones, exactly.
And there's a under fender here. That's also carbon fiber.
Correct. So here you can see the top mount that we built ourselves and welded here, where the roll cage.
So the roll cage goes through the firewall.
Correct.
Onto the.
Yeah. In this case, we painted all the roll cage, both inside and outside, in black.
Oh right, yeah. So you made the actual joint line there.
Exactly.
Make it look like, but it's all one piece.
Yeah, it is one piece. But we thought it could be nicer and could give you a better explanation of
It highlights the work,
the quality of the work and where actually the roll cage starts.
You can see the front pipe just goes right down onto the front section of the grille.
As we mentioned before, the original 4-cylinder turbo inline turbo engine, the base of the engine is the original one, but we changed and stripped everything that is inside, from pistons, shaft, crank, the turbo, the ECU, injectors, cylinder head.
You kept the original block?
Correct.
Everything else
changed. Yeah.
So is this still a 2 liter?
It's still a 2 liter, yes.
Okay. So you've kept the basic layout basically.
The big problem with these cars, so basically, as I was explaining before, back in the 70s, when the first Delta was ever released, was a 4-cylinder 1.3 cc. 1.3 liters, naturally aspirated. Then the car kept on growing in terms of power and because of the rally purposes. As you can see, there's no more room left. And so the biggest challenge to us was to find a way to cool the engine down.
Take a look from
and
here.
in fact, all this part in front is dedicated to the radiators.
Yeah.
See, there's barely.
And there's a few up here as we were looking at before.
And we have everything for the test use monitorized electronically. Then there's the gear selector here. pneumatic over here. As I said before, we can have the car in 3 gearbox configuration. It's the early WRC configuration, so with one paddle that does both up gear and downshift.
So push and pull.
Then we can have upshift, downshift, or we can have the traditional
the lever for
correct,
like the
mechanical lever, all in the same gearbox.
And you run a Motec management system?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I see that the intake plenum here has an Italtecnica logo.
Yeah, so we've been, for this new challenge, we decided to change supplier. We've been working greatly with our old supplier, but we wanted to go even further with this engine, and we went to one of the best Italian companies called Italtecnica. They're responsible for several interesting projects, rally related. They've also been tuning Luca's car, the Chimera.
Yeah.
They actually manufacture an engine from scratch with them. In our case, they took the original engine and they tuned it on according to our needs.
And you're saying this develops 400 horsepower now?
Yes.
How much torque?
Oh, good question. It's something around 400 Newton meters.
Okay. Oh, we'll get the correct numbers.
Yeah.
I just love the simplicity of the layout. I have to say, like, crackle finish, nothing crazy, a nice use of dry carbon, and then just silicone piping.
Yeah, everything you see here, obviously it's an engine, so
Yeah.
should be given for granted,
Yeah.
has a purpose. And we if you see even the manifolds, I don't know, maybe it's too geeky, but everything is
Oh, we love
also
geeky. Sure.
custom made on the shape on our need.
Yeah.
So you see here and
a bit
here
hard to
the
see.
joints. See that does this Y design.
All right, yeah.
Here and here it's turned also. So it's ready to fit every engine and every car.
Yeah.
Because everything is designed on our needs.
And I also noticed the Bosch Motorsport
Correct.
electric throttle here. So you've gone from an old school mechanical throttle setup to taking advantage of the old
Correct.
new electronics. Amazing. I guess the final thing to look at is just the interior and just
Yeah.
kind of the way it's laid out. So we'll pop the hatch because it's the only way to really appreciate the carbon tub that has gone into the rear section to hold up the
As
spare
you see, it's
tire.
a full carbon tub divided in 3 pieces, 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And it's where we keep the spare tire.
And back here is
Here it's fuel tank,
it's all fuel.
race fuel tank,
Yeah.
with all the sponges inside in order to have the exact liters.
Do you guys run regular fuel or race gas?
No, the car, the engine ECU can handle 95, as it can handle the 100 octans that we have in certain gas stations.
There's one fact that we haven't touched upon is that you are a seasoned Dakar
Yeah.
rally driver, right?
Yeah.
So you're very much familiar with layouts like this.
Yeah,
and-
that's exactly why I wanted to give the direction to my company to the motorsport side of life, let's say,
Yeah.
because motorsport I think has really lots to give,
Yeah.
and you see Porsche with their GT3s and GT2 and all DRSs. It's great source of inspiration for us, and but there are no OEMs who build rally cars for the road. So we said maybe this is our angle.
Yeah. And you've just come back from Dakar
Yeah.
and a pretty bad crash.
Pretty bad crash, but
Are
the
you
cars
okay?
yeah,
Are
I'm
you doing okay?
I'm okay.
Just
A
checking.
little bit sad. But we also won the Safari Rally in Kenya 2 months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much. With the vintage Porsche.
Nice. I also noticed little details like this. I just love seeing this kind of stuff. Billet holders for. Is this all carbon fiber?
Yeah.
Or, yeah. Amazing. And then final little touch: the tail lights and headlights.
Okay, tail lights. Well, these tail lights are coming from the OG car,
Yeah.
The Futurista, which was the road going car. So it's a, let's say, a carryover from the previous project. Fun fact, the size of the lights, it's the same as the original one, but the original one was missing this little part. Why? Because the original car from the 70s had a very narrow body. Then the 16 valve and the Evolution car came, which were wider. But for cost saving at the Fiat group, they decided to keep the car, the lights
The same size.
the same size. The body and the flare were growing, and you could see on the other cars that the flare was finishing here with the missing part. So we said, why don't we integrate the lights? We keep the same design of the light, just with LEDs, but we integrate this small detail into the flare.
So basically the flare begins on the tail light.
Oh yeah, or the flare, I like to say that the flare finishes
Well,
into
the other way.
light, yeah.
It ends here. And does that include this little ridge here? That
Yeah,
kinda aligns
exactly,
up? Yeah.
exactly.
That's a nice little
So
touch.
it's a very tiny detail, but it's all, I think, the reason why people like in Italy, it's because we...
Yeah,
well,
I mean, it's the first thing you notice, right? It's there, it's something different. You can't maybe kind of
We don't have the big picture,
but
we have the details.
Exactly. And the front ones are twin LED
Yeah,
projectors, right?
for the front ones, we were lucky enough because the original Delta has two round headlights.
Yeah.
So we found two homologated Hella lights.
And just like the Futurista, I like how you guys have kept the upper grille.
Yeah.
Like, on the Futurista, most of it is all black,
It's
right? The full car.
it's the same. Some customer wanted to have this in carbon fiber and this painted with the car.
Yeah.
Some of them had this in carbon fiber and this in carbon fiber.
It kind of gives a Monte Carlo look to
Correct.
the front end.
Like that's where, bravo Dino. That's where we took the inspiration. It's from the Beta Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, yeah. We were actually at a rally convention yesterday in Vicenza,
Okay.
run by Mickey Biaso.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of amazing rally cars from history, including a Beta Monte Carlo Group 5, where, you know, there's the grille.
The grill was black and
Exactly, yeah.
small. I think it's all. It's many small references that they all work together when you see the whole car.
Yeah, and I think it's awesome how you've just kept it all in the Lancia family, right?
Exactly.
I mean, it's not kind of taking
Exactly.
inspiration for other brands. So yeah, amazing.
Well, I think
work.
we have so much history and so much to say about Lancia.
Yeah.
That it's kind of easy to find the right references and put them into our project.
It was an amazing brand.
It
it's
is.
just sad to see how
Was.
it's ended up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And today's Lancia is not the same Lancia as it used to be. But you know, massive thank you again for showing me the car in detail.
Big pleasure.
Let's call this step 1 because tomorrow is step 2, and
Okay.
that's where we have the
Yeah,
most
I mean,
of the fun.
the car, it's good looking to me, but the amazing part of this car that I was finally able not to compromise like I had to do with the fully road version.
Yeah.
This is no compromise, but again, easily drivable by everybody, and it's so much fun to drive. You will end your day with a
big
big
grin.
smile, yes.
Well, that's a perfect way to end this interview. Again, thank you so much, Eugenio. And on we go to the next step.
Ciao.
There's Larry filming the white Futurista in this really nice, kind of like a hole in the ground basically. Okay, so the next step is to spend some time with Luca, who is the main guy here. Wow. We're actually going to move this Futurista inside, back in the corridor inside here at Podium, and we're going to be chatting to Luca, the owner here, and the guy that basically ran the entire Amos project here, starting with the Futurista, but with a little bit more about the Safarista, because that's the car we're here to see. We'll have both tomorrow to kind of look at in that really cool venue they have for us, and we'll be able to drive them. So I just want to touch on the more technical stuff and have an engineer's perspective onto the project. So we'll head inside and do that. Okay, so I'm joined here by Luca, who actually manages Podium here. And I just want to have a little kind of understanding of what you guys do here at Podium, the services that you provide, and how the company came to be, because you're located in a very interesting area of Italy, right next to the mountains, and you have an amazing team and an amazing facility. So I just wanted to, find out more from you, what you guys are kind of involved with.
Yeah, Podium was founded in 2011 from the idea that in an area, touring area where that historically is devoted to coach building, a real technological company was missing. So a company that was able to handle topics like powertrain, electric powertrain, chassis design, suspension design. These kind of technical topics were not really covered in the area, and so we decided to found Podium because we thought there was some market for that.
Sure, yeah.
Some business. At the beginning we were 5, now we are more than 100.
Wow.
The business is split in 3 main areas. One is electric powertrain development, which is focused mainly on battery development, so high performance battery that are used on boats, formula cars, motorbikes, many other stuff. One of, let's say, our main projects is related to Automobili Amos. It started with the Futurista in 2017, when Eugenio had the idea of upgrading a Delta to a new car. And
what did you think of the idea originally? Because you never know, maybe some guys have crazy ideas and you're probably like, oh, what is that even worth doing? But what was your original thought of his plan?
I mean, for us it's very difficult to understand what is going to be the future of your program, because once you are in, you are so involved that you have no idea how the feeling outside would be when the car would be finished. So at that time, I thought it was a very good idea, because nobody was doing resto mod in Europe at the time, except for maybe for Alphaholics in the UK, of course there was already Singer in the US, but here in Italy and in general, Europe was not so common 6 years ago to do something like that. So I thought it was a very nice challenge. I totally underestimated the complexity of the exercise. That was absolutely yes. We started like, let's upgrade a Delta, and we finished to make almost a new car. So we made like 3,000 parts.
Wow.
There are 3,000 custom parts on the...
So you guys took care of all the R&D behind the complete build of the chassis, the running chassis, basically? Everything.
Basically, what we had was a great idea from Eugenio, a great style input from Borromeo de Silva, and a very used and, let's say, bad-shaped Lancia Delta donor car. And then from these 3 inputs, we had to get to a car, to a working car, to a validated car, and then to a small series. So, and going through the complete design process, building process, homologation process. So it was a very multidisciplinary activity. But as I said before, when we started, we had no idea how difficult it was.
Far from easy, basically.
Yeah. Then the idea was I have to say that was one of the best projects in terms of team feeling, because we started with some very rough idea, and then the car developed in every direction. So the concept from Eugenio, the target of the vehicle, the style coming from Carlo and his team, get more complex and more defined while we were doing the car. So there was a lot of meetings, informations running around to try to figure out how the car was going to be, and was very, very, very interesting.
And this is the finished example. One of the 20 that were built, well, 21 if you count Eugenio's And I mean, it's definitely something special. I mean, it's the first time I see these cars up front, and it's just unbelievable how impactful they are, and you know, from design to the actual engineering behind it, and of course the powertrain. But you know, can you run us through the process? Like how long was the actual development of the car from start to finish?
I think the first meeting we had with Carlo Eugenio was like November 2016.
Yeah.
Then we had let's say Christmas lunch at the end of 2016, where Carlo came with the first sketches of the car, and there Eugenio said, "Okay, let's go." And so we basically started beginning on 2017, and the first car was presented in October 2018.
Okay.
So it took like 1.5 years to get to the first working prototype. And then it took like 6 to 8 months of validation and development. We drove a lot because we had when you start a rest mode, it's way more difficult than when you do a car from scratch because you don't have data. So you don't know. There are many stuff you are using from the donor car. You have no idea how they were developed, conceived, validated. So you have a lot of hands-on work to handle when the car is ready. And so it took like 8 months to validate the car and to start the small series. And then we delivered the last car in November 2022. Yeah. So it was quite a long journey, so more or less 5 years of work from the first meeting to the delivery of the last car.
And you know, how did the Safarista, I guess the second evolution of the project, how did that come to be? I mean, were you guys aware that that was going to happen while you were making the Futurista?
No.
Or?
No, I have to say that most of the ideas behind the Safarista came from the will to sort the limits of the Futurista. Right. So there are many intrinsic limits of the Delta platform that we had to live with during the Futurista that we wanted to really improve for the Safarista. And this goes to the gearbox, which is the real power limitation we currently have on the Futurista, because over the power we are now running, the gearbox will be...
How much horsepower?
330.
330, okay.
Yeah, and going higher would be possible engine side, but very tricky gearbox side. At least that's what we experienced. And so we wanted to upgrade the gearbox. We wanted to have a more powerful engine, thanks to the new gearbox. We wanted to have a better steering rack, because again, the steering rack is one of the driving limitations. We wanted to have a proper driving position, not carrying over the typical Delta position, which is fantastic, but of course is now very old, let's say, in terms of a position and driver feeling and comfort. So the Safarista really was an idea to say, okay, why the Futurista is not a more powerful, quicker, let's say, more performant car? Okay, the answer was, let's make the Safarista, and on top, due to his, let's say, driving skills and off-road driving experience, Eugenio wanted also to have added this kind of content to the car, so to have a car capable of running faster on every single kind of surface. And that's the reason why the Safarista
the car came to be.
Exactly.
And you guys are, I guess, very satisfied with the outcome. I mean, it's basically what you guys wanted to do with this, but couldn't. So now you have that kind of extra envelope there.
Our monster. Yeah, exactly. That was the idea. And on top, I think that the concept of the Futurista was really, say, at its limit. So to do something more or different, we really have to go in a different direction. And that's what we did with the Safarista. Basically.
Amazing. And we're lucky enough to have the chance to actually test drive the car tomorrow and kind of understand what you just ran through, to actually put it into physical form and understand what the car does, how it behaves. So yeah, I mean, awesome to to be able to come here and run through the facility, and thank you for explaining everything and how the car came to be. I hope there's more projects coming in the future and you guys can continue doing what you're doing, because you're doing an amazing job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So speaking of really good access here at Podium, they've allowed us to come down here and see the next chassis that's going to be built as a Safarista. So this is what a donor car would look like. It is pretty rough, but then again, as Eugenio was explaining, they wouldn't want to start from a perfect condition Delta, because that's kind of taking away from the historical side of the original cars. What they prefer to do is start off with cars that are being abandoned or neglected for so many years, like this 16 valve version, which is from 1990. You can see the hood here on the floor, and then what it looks like from the rear. Of course, as you can see, the Delta came with 4 doors. That's going to get welded shut, glass replaced. This pillar here is going to be removed, and of course it's going to be completely transformed and widened, because the 16 valve didn't have the full integrale wide body as in later generations. And right behind it is a Diablo. Do you know of any other company here in Italy that does resto modded Diablos? But while we still have a bit of time here and we take out the 2 cars for some pictures in the local town, I wanted to do a little walk around of the white one up here. So this is actually a customer car, and it's going to be left here, and it's going to be with us tomorrow. Maybe we have a few more minutes with it just to look over some of the details that I skipped on before. And another look inside. Again, black on red as the rest of the cabin. Carbon fiber inserts that go right across the dashboard. And that cool custom steering wheel with the Lancia logo. I love the levati button. That in Italian means get out of the way, so that's the high beam. And the center console has some custom switches. I love the rocket there. That's to engage the more performance-oriented map of the ECU. And that instrumentation there kind of like has the Delta look, but it's an Amos custom design. And of course you can see how the whole quarter panel here is fused with the rest of the bodywork. This is a one-piece recreation that Podium designed and created. This is not welded doors. This is nothing, kind of tuner-like. This is a proper whole one-piece quarter panel that's being molded and then created and then welded in place. And it's considerably wider than a Delta, so both front and back, the car is definitely much, much wider. All right, so our time here at Podium is coming to an end. We are going to move to the actual town, bringing out the Safarista and the Futurista, trying to get some cool shots, because we're actually in carnival season here, so a lot of towns have the decorations out, and hopefully we can catch some of that regional beauty that this area has and immortalize 2 really special cars in the process. So I'm getting back to my Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and we're gonna get going. I'm gonna jump in the Safarista. First time I get in this. Larry just went for a quick ride, and we'll take a look. Oddio. I see. Rally car for the street. While we get there, we're actually gonna take advantage of the fact that we're driving in town to get some driving shots of the 2 cars. It's not the best car to be driving at like 20 kilometers an hour, bunny hopping in first gear. So this town is all dressed up in carnival decoration, and they have a little celebratory devil that they burn on the bridge here. So maybe you can see that as we drive by. You can actually see people dressed in carnival costumes practicing for tomorrow. We're disturbing the peace here with this really loud rally car. Ridiculous. Past the police. I hope they don't chase. Oh my god. I had no idea today was going to turn out into a rally stage. This is a new definition of disturbing the peace. Such a beautiful, tranquil village here. And he's gonna come down and give it some. So I'm just gonna sit here on this wall, enjoy the view, and pretend I'm watching a local rally or something. Tanta roba, as we say in Italy. Larry, when are you moving to Italy, man? I need a sequential in my life. That's the takeaway from today. Sequenziale. Okay, so Larry's driving the Futurista, and we're gonna lead in the Safarista. Larry's gonna try to keep up. Alright, so we're going to attempt to get a little bit more sideways because it's more... Bye-bye. Let's get a little bit more action here. My God, so much grip. Try out that hydraulic.